A woman contacts her brother-in-law at the last minute to ask him to watch her daughter for the day. The brother-in-law, Tim, grudgingly agrees. He picks the girl up and takes her down to the shoreline where he works. "Do you know what I do for a living?" She nods. "You're a fisherman, right?" "Well, kind of. See, we get a lot of fish around here, and in order to catch as many as possible, we've streamlined the process and now everyone involved is heavily specialized. There are people who spend their whole day throwing lines out. They just move from line to line, throwing it out and moving on. Then there are other people who keep their eyes on a bunch of lines, and when a fish tugs on one, they run over and jerk the line to hook the fish. All day, just hooking fish after fish. Then they move on, and someone else comes up and reels the fish in. Then someone else collects the fish, and someone else carries them to the warehouse to be gutted, etc., etc., etc. That seems like it would be tedious. How do you decide which job you want? Do you just end up doing whatever you started with until you quit? Well, no. Everyone starts by hooking the fish. Not many people really like that job, so everyone has to start there. After you've been at it for a while, if a position opens up somewhere else, you can spend a few days trying out casting or reeling. The jobs that pay the best, the ones that everybody wants, are baiting and gutting the fish. Gutting isn't pleasant, but the pay is good and you can work indoors. She thinks about that for a minute, then nods. Okay, so what do you do? Me? I'm a baiter. Have been for years. Uncle Tim is clearly proud of himself. Not only that, but I'm at the top of the game. See how there are people fishing all up and down here? Well, what you probably don't realize is that you have to earn your position. Newbies and people who aren't good at their job start out here on the street. If you're good enough, though, you can earn a spot working on the pier, where they get twice as many fish. And if you're a master of your specialty, you can get a place out there at the very end. That's where they catch the most and the best fish, and that's where I work. The girl doesn't find this very interesting, but she goes out with her uncle and watches and helps for a few hours at the end of the pier. She hates it. The bait is disgusting, the hooks keep on pricking her. It's miserable. About halfway through the day, though, a spot opens up out on the street, and she jumps at the chance to get away from her uncle's prized job. That night, at dinner, her mother asks, "So, how was your day with your uncle? Where did you go? What did you learn?" She thinks for a minute before replying, "We went to the shore today and I learned one thing for certain. I'd rather be a lowly street hooker than spend the rest of my life as a master baiter like Uncle Tim." There was a king ready to abdicate, so he brought in his 3 sons. He tells them, "Each of you will receive a trial. The first to complete their trial will become king." Beginning with his eldest son, a brave and foolhardy man of great stature, he says, "You are to bring me your grandmother's emerald ring lost decades ago in the wreck of the windbreaker from the bottom of the stormy North Sea." "Right away, father," said the eldest son, departing at once, determined to become king. Then to his middle son, nimble and self-righteous, "You are to retrieve your great-grandfather's shield, bearing our coat of arms from the deadly jungles of India, lost at the site of a battle since forgotten." "I shall do so at once, father," said the middle son, and so he too departed at once. Then he beckoned for his youngest son, a young man intelligent but meek next to his older siblings, to approach. "Yes, father?" the son inquired. To which the king replies, "Bring me a Coke. I never liked those assholes." A group of soldiers are preparing for an attack from the enemy when a private walks up to the captain and says, "Captain, I've lost my rifle. What do I do?" The captain thinks for a moment, then grabs a broom and hands it to the private. He says, "If any enemies show themselves, just point this at them and shout, 'Bangity, bangity, bang.'" The private argues about how it won't work, but the captain insists until he finally gives up. "Well, what about close quarters then?" says the private. The captain thinks for a moment, then takes a butter knife and sticks it to the end of the broom. He then says, "If they come close, just use this and say, 'Stabbity, stabbity, stab.'" The private doesn't even bother arguing this time. The next day, the enemy mounts a huge offensive. There is an immense army. The private starts aiming his broom and saying, "Bangity, bangity, bang," and it actually proves effective. This guy starts mowing down the enemy soldiers with his broom, but there's just so many and they start charging him. So he starts to stabbity, stabbity, stab, and the soldiers drop in front of him bleeding. After some time, there is no one left alive on the battlefield but him. There are corpses from both sides everywhere, except there is one enemy soldier in the distance. The enemy soldier is not aiming a gun or anything. He is simply walking towards the broom-wielding soldier while mumbling something. The soldier aims his broom and fires, but to no effect. He continues trying over and over, but the enemy soldier just walks towards him, still mumbling. The soldier gets close and he tries stabbing, but it still has no effect. The soldier finally reaches him and simply pushes him over. He literally crushes him just walking over him. As his life fades, he finally hears the enemy solider walking off saying, "Tankety, tankety, tank." A male patient is lying in bed in the hospital wearing an oxygen mask over his mouth and nose. A pretty young student nurse appears to give him a partial sponge bath. "Nurse," he mumbles from behind the mask, "are my testicles black?" Embarrassed, the young nurse replies, "I don't know, sir. I'm only here to wash your upper body and feet." He struggles to ask again, "Nurse, please check. Are my testicles black?" Concerned that he may elevate his blood pressure and heart rate from worry about his testicles, she overcomes her embarrassment and pulls back the covers. She raises his gown, holds his manhood in one hand and his testicles in the other. Then she takes a close look and says, "There's nothing wrong with them, sir." The man pulls off his oxygen mask, smiles at her, and says very slowly, "Thank you very much." That was wonderful. But listen very, very closely. Are my test results back? A couple was invited to a swanky, masked Halloween party. They were ready to leave when the wife came down with a headache. She told her husband to go to the party. No need to miss it because of her headache. So the husband left for the party. About an hour later, his wife's headache went away, and she felt better. She put on her costume and went to the party. As she arrived, she spotted her husband cavorting around the dance floor, dancing with every nice chick he could, copping a little feel here and a little kiss there. The wife sidled up to him and let him go as far as he wished, naturally because he was her husband. Finally, he whispered a little proposition in her ear and she agreed. So they went off to one of the cars and had a little bang. Just before midnight, unmasking, she slipped away and went home, got in bed, and wondered what kind of explanation he would have. As he entered the bedroom, she asked, "Did you have a good time? Did you dance much?" He replied, "You know I never have any fun if you are not with me." I never danced one dance. When I got there, I met some of my friends and we played cards. I lent my costume to some guy. He said he had a terrific time. A good Christian man walked into Walmart and was offered a mask by the store greeter. The man politely declined, saying God would protect him from COVID. Later, the man went to his doctor for a routine checkup. The doctor told him everything is fine, and they also have all 3 different types of the COVID vaccine if he would like one. Again, the man politely declined, saying God would protect him from COVID. A few weeks later, the man fell very ill. He went back to his doctor, and to his disbelief was diagnosed with COVID and admitted to the hospital. After days of holding on, he finally fell victim to his illness. When the man reached the gates of heaven, God was there waiting for him. The man asked God why he didn't protect him from COVID. God looked at him and said, "I had people offer you free masks and 3 different vaccines to choose from, you dummy. Also, you're going to have to quarantine in hell for a few weeks." A man was traveling the countryside with his 8-year-old daughter. One particularly stormy night, they were forced to take shelter in a local mansion owned by a lonely widow. The widow was happy to receive guests and was very hospitable for the 2 weary travelers. The next morning, the father said to his daughter, "I have to take care of some business in the nearby town. Mrs. Sterling has kindly agreed to look after you while I'm gone. I will be back tomorrow morning. Promise to be good while I'm gone." "Yes, father, I promise," the little girl said, though deep down she was nervous to spend the night in the big house without her father. Nighttime came, and the widow took the little girl to her room upstairs. But not an hour had passed when the lady heard crying from the little girl's room. "What is it, my sweet child? Did you have a nightmare?" the widow inquired softly. "There is someone in this room, behind the curtains." "I'm scared," the girl whimpered pitifully. The widow walked to the window and pulled the curtains aside. "See? There is no one here. It was probably the draft moving the curtains, as this is a very old house. Now be a good little girl and go back to sleep." But only a short moment had passed when the widow once again heard cries from the little girl's room. "My sweet child, what is it now?" "There is someone here, I swear." "I saw it in the corner." "It's a ghost," the little girl whimpered in her bed. "There is no one here but you and me, dear. It is probably just shadows from the old oak tree outside playing tricks with your eyes. Your father will be back with us first thing tomorrow morning. Now for the last time, be a good little girl and try to get some sleep." An hour passed, and the widow was woken up by a knock on her door. She saw the little girl standing outside in her nightgown weeping pitifully. "For heaven's sake, child. It's past midnight, and you should be fast asleep." "What is it now?" the widow asked, exasperated. "I saw the ghost again, miss. It won't let me sleep. Can I come sleep next to you? Now listen to me carefully, child. I have lived in this house for 367 years, and not once have I seen a ghost. Now, for the last time, go back to bed and try to get some sleep." An out-of-work actor gets a call from his agent one day. "I got you a job." It's a one-liner. "That's okay," replies the actor. "I've been out of work for so long, I'll take anything. What's the line?" "Hark, I hear the cannons roar," says the agent. "I love it," says the actor. "When's the audition?" "Wednesday," says the agent. Wednesday comes, and the actor arrives at the audition. He marches on stage and shouts, "Hark, I hear the cannons roar." "Brilliant," says the director. "You've got the job." The first show is at 9 o'clock, Saturday night. The actor is so excited that he goes on a major bender. He wakes up 8:30 Saturday evening and runs to the theater, continually repeating his line, "Hark! I hear the cannons roar! Hark! I hear the cannons roar!" He arrives and is stopped by the bouncer. "Who the heck are you?" "I'm Hark! I hear the cannons roar," says the actor. "You're Hark! I hear the cannons roar," says the bouncer. "You're late. Get up to makeup right now." So the actor runs up to makeup. "Who the heck are you?" asks the makeup girl. "I'm Hark. I hear the cannons roar," he says. "You're late. Sit down." So she applies the makeup. "Now quick, get down to the stage. It's almost time to say your line." So he dashes down to the stage. "Who the heck are you?" asks the stage manager. "I'm Hark. I hear the cannons roar," he replies. "Oh, thank God! Just in time. Now get out there. The curtains are about to go up." So the actor runs onto the stage. The curtains rise, and he sees that the house is full. Suddenly, there is an almighty bang behind him, and the bewildered actor shouts, "What the fuck was that?" A Russian guy always dreamed of living in the UK, but he had one problem. He couldn't say a word in English. So, as a genius he decided that he will go to the shops, he will listen to people calling and naming certain things, and he'll call them same. So at the car shop, he buys a car and hears somebody use a word dick and calls his car dick. At some other shop, he needed curtains, so he heard someone say pants and called curtains pants. Same thing goes for bed. He heard underwear, thus he named his bed underwear. Some days later, he jumps out of his bed, opens his curtains, and sees that the car is missing. So he calls the police and says, "Privet, hello? I jumped out of my underwear, opened my pants, and saw that my dick is gone." An old farmer ordered a high-tech milking machine. It so happened that the equipment arrived when his wife was away. He decided to test it on himself first. He inserted his into the equipment, turned the switch on, and voila, everything else was automatic. He really had a good time as the equipment provided him with much pleasure. When the fun was over, he found that he could not take the machine off. He read the manual but could not find any useful information. He tried every button on the instrument, but some made the machine squeeze, shake, or suck harder or less, but still latched onto his penis. Panicking, the farmer called the supplier's customer service hotline. The farmer: "Hello, I just bought a milking machine from your company. It worked fantastic, but how can I take it off from the cow's udder?" Customer service: "Don't you worry, sir. The machine was programmed such that it will release automatically after collecting a gallon of milk." Interviewer: "How much amount of milk does your cow produce?" Farmer: "Which one, black one or white one?" Interviewer: "Black one." Farmer: 2 liters per day. Interviewer: "And the white one?" Farmer: 2 liters per day. Interviewer: "Where do they sleep?" Farmer: "The black one or the white one?" Interviewer: "The black one." Farmer: "In the barn." Interviewer: "And the white one?" Farmer: "In the barn." Interviewer: "Your cows look healthy. What do you feed them?" Farmer: "Which one? Black one or white one?" Interviewer: "Black one." Farmer: "Grass." Interviewer: "And the white one?" Farmer: "Grass." Interviewer, annoyed: "But why do you keep on asking if the black one or the white one when your answers are just the same?" Farmer: "Because the black one is mine." Interviewer: "And the white one?" Farmer: "It's also mine." The only cow in a small town in Poland stopped giving milk. The people did some research and found that they could buy a cow from Moscow for 2,000 rubles, or one from Minsk for 1,000 rubles. Being frugal, they bought the cow from Minsk. The cow was wonderful. It produced lots of milk all the time, and the people were amazed and very happy. They decided to acquire a bull to mate with the cow and produce more cows like it. Then they would never have to worry about the milk supply again. They bought a bull and put it in the pasture with their beloved cow. However, whenever the bull came close to the cow would move away. No matter what approach the bull tried, the cow would move away from the bull and he could not succeed in his quest. The people were very upset and decided to ask their wise rabbi what to do. They told the rabbi what was happening. "Whenever the bull approaches our cow, she moves away. If he approaches from the back, she moves forward. When he approaches her from the front, she backs off. An approach from the side, and she just walks away to the other side." The rabbi thought about this for a minute and asked, "Did you buy this cow from Minsk?" The people were dumbfounded, since they had never mentioned where they had gotten the cow. "You are truly a wise rabbi," they said. "How did you know we got the cow from Minsk?" The rabbi answered sadly, "My wife is from Minsk." Billy arrived at his new job, the local garden center/general store. Mr. Howard said, "Just watch how I interact with the customers, Billy, and follow my lead. We need to upsell." "Okay," says Billy, "I'm all ears." A man walks in and mills around the store for a while, then comes up to the counter with a packet of grass seeds. Mr. Howard engages the customer. "Good day, sir. I see you are buying some grass seeds. Let's do some forward thinking. Once the grass grows, you are going to need to cut it. Do you have a lawnmower?" The man replies, "Actually, I don't. We've just moved here and the yard is pretty bare. Just wanted to spruce it up a bit. Can you show me your lawnmowers?" Mr. Howard shows the man his range of lawnmowers and gets a sale. "See, Billy, that's how you do it. Show me what you can do." A half hour later, another man walks in and walks straight up to the counter. Billy says, "Good day, sir. How can I help you?" The man says, "Can I get a pack of Tampax Supersize Max, please?" Billy says, "Would you like a lawnmower to go with that?" The man replies, "What would I want that for?" Billy replies, "You're doing f*** all else this weekend. You might as well cut the grass." During a quiz, the teacher smiled mischievously and asked, "All right, class. What does every woman have that starts with the letter V, and she can use it to get whatever she wants?" The boys started giggling. Everyone turned to Johnny, waiting for his usual disaster of an answer. Johnny sat up, smirked, and confidently said, "Voice." Calling in sick is always awkward. Even when it's legit, you feel like your boss assumes you're faking it. So, when I had a very real injury recently, I still told a half-truth. Head injury. Staying home. Hope to be in tomorrow. Simple, clean, no details. Because the actual story, well, let's just say it didn't feel HR safe. See, a week earlier, my wife decided we had to adopt a kitten. Cute, tiny, playful. No problem. At first. But one morning I was in the shower when she yelled from the kitchen, "Honey!" "The garbage disposal is dead again. Can you reset it?" I yelled back. "You know where the button is?" "I know, but I'm scared." What if it turns on and pulls me in? Really? A garbage disposal vacuuming her in like a black hole? But fine. I got out, dripping wet, naked, grumpy. I marched to the kitchen muttering and crouched under the sink to press the button, hoping my dramatic nudity would make a statement. That's when disaster struck. Turns out the kitten had wandered in, and as I crouched there, fully exposed, she spotted, well, let's call them dangling targets. With the speed of a jungle predator and the curiosity of a toddler, she pounced. Needle claws, sensitive flesh, pain. Instinct took over. I shot up straight like a rocket. Unfortunately, into the hard underside of the sink. Blackout. When I came to, I was on the kitchen floor, naked, dazed, and surrounded by paramedics trying not to laugh out loud. My wife, of course, had filled them in completely. Days later, when I finally returned to work, everyone wanted to know how I hit my head. I just shook my head and said, "Don't ask. It still hurts." One colleague smirked and said, "Cat got your tongue?" "No, Karen. The cat got something else entirely." By nature, Jason was very intelligent, but a bit shy. One day he went into a bar and he saw a stunningly attractive woman sitting alone at a table drinking a white wine spritzer. Jason couldn't take his eyes off this lady, and eventually he gathered up the courage to walk across and speak to her. "Hello, I'm Jason." "Would you mind if I sat with you and chatted for a while?" asked Jason quietly but politely. The woman responded by yelling at the top of her voice, "No! I will not sleep with you tonight." Jason blushed, beetroot red with embarrassment, and everyone in the bar looked over to see what was going on. So he walked back over to the counter where he'd been sitting, reflecting on how he might have handled the situation and intending to leave the bar as soon as he'd finished his drink. However, a couple of minutes later, the attractive woman walked over to him and apologized. "I'm really sorry," she said. "I'm actually a PhD student at Harvard, and I'm researching how people respond in embarrassing situations." To which Jason responded, yelling loudly at the top of his voice, "What do you mean you charge $300 minimum?"